Hello, YouTube. Sarov is a closed town in Nizhny Novgorod Oblast, a region of Russia. The town is closed as it is the Russian Center for Nuclear Research. In 1946, the All-Union Scientific Research Institute of Experimental Physics, a nuclear weapons design facility that would become known in the West under the acronym VNIIEF, was built. Sarov became a closed town, a secret town. It was removed from all unclassified maps. Initial provisional names included Base 112, Site 550, Yasnogorsk. Sarov was known as Arzamas 16 until the year 1995. Well, in 1954, Arzamas 16 was granted town status. Let me explain. A closed city or town is a settlement in Russia where travel or residency restrictions are applied so that specific authorization is required to visit or remain there overnight. Such places may be sensitive military establishments or secret research installations that require much more space or internal freedom than is available in a conventional military base. The town is home to the Russian Federation Nuclear Center and the Atomic Bomb Museum, which has a number of casings of Soviet-era nuclear weapons and photographs of those involved in their production. The main access there is by train, which, after a security stop and inspection, is allowed into the town to disembark passengers. The small Sarov airport is generally for government aircraft only, and visitors usually fly to Nizhny Novgorod airport and then they drive. The town is surrounded by fences patrolled by the military. Foreigners and even Russians who do not live in Sarov are not allowed to enter the town without permission. And foreigners who visit on business must surrender their passports, phones, and cameras to security while they're in the facility, though some documentary filmmakers have shot footage inside the town walls. Here is what took place in that town in early December 2024. Two pensioners, retired people, were brutally murdered in one of the most famous atomic towns in Russia, in the town of Sarov. One of the victims had her head cut off in the bathroom of her apartment. The suspect has already been detained, but residents complain about the total lack of police, about dark courtyards, and inaction of the authorities. According to local residents, women have been chased on the streets by suspicious men more than once. But law enforcement agencies do nothing until they, the criminals, do something with the victim. The two pensioners were found brutally murdered in their own home. One of the victims was a 77-year-old woman whose head was cut off. The second one is a 78-year-old man, a bedridden patient, on whose body there were stab wounds. The investigation reported the shocking murder late in the evening on December 4. According to media reports, the attacker waylaid the woman when she entered the entrance and dragged her into the apartment by force. There he attacked both pensioners, cutting off the woman's head in the bathroom. The murder took place at 51A Lenin Avenue. She passed there by yesterday, December 4, at about 19:30 hours 30 minutes. The investigation team was working. The dead were taken to the morgue. Their son discovered them. That's what the local resident Alexandra, name was changed, told Russian newspapers. The suspect was caught the next morning. He returned to the crime scene to observe what was happening, but somehow attracted the attention of the police, according to the NTV Russian TV station. At the same time, the source of Gazeta.ru newspaper in law enforcement agencies gave another account. They were detained in hot pursuit at his house. Then, when the man was taken to the investigative committee, he gave the jacket to them, which showed traces of blood. The source said officially the investigative committee limited itself to a short message that the detention was carried out in the course of a well-planned investigative actions. The potential killer turned out to be a 29-year-old local resident. A murder case has been opened, paragraph A of part 2 of Article 105 of the Criminal Code, and the man is being interrogated. Sarov is one of the closed atomic towns of Russia. Officially, they're called Russian abbreviation ZATO. Once upon a time, such settlements arose from Soviet settlements for workers in the nuclear industry. Sarov is especially famous among them, since it was here that the first Soviet atomic weapons were developed. According to documents, the city changed names several times, and as I already mentioned, it was also known as Arzamas 16. There's no reason to go in all of the names. Now Sarov still plays a crucial role in providing a nuclear shield. The Federal Nuclear Center operates in the city. I just wanted to let you know that I've done another video about Sarov and the Russian nuclear facilities and the visitations of UFOs to the area. And it has been going on for years, but it has nothing to do with today's content of the video. It is impossible to get into this settlement just like that. You need to get a special permit. Some residents believe that the closed status of the town should ensure greater security on the streets. However, judging by their words, the situation is exactly the opposite. Against the background of a high-profile murder, people complain about the inaction and lack of police, the indifference of the authorities. The whole town will find out about this, the murder of the pensioners, by word of mouth. There is no official news, and there will be no official news, because it is customary to keep silent, because we have a quiet town. I've known about this story for 4 hours. 4 hours is a lot for such a small town. Commentators noted in one of the city's public internet pages, before the investigation published the first news about the bodies that were found. Other residents say that it is impossible to get through to the local police. 3.5 people work there. And even after the murder, it is not noticeable that the city was dotted with patrols. The cops are in our town in order to ride their bobik, patrol car, in slang, and collect all sorts of homeless people. When you get killed, then come to the police. Today's case is an ideal example of this phrase. The townspeople are outraged. At the same time, a resident of Sarov, Alexandra, clarified to the newspaper that the police really do not have enough, but they did well, because they worked quickly and were able to detain the subject. The woman added that the townspeople are shocked about the severed head. People are discussing, they're very scared. Yesterday, we can say there was panic. Today, December 5th, information has emerged that the suspect has been detained. It is still unknown whether it is worth it. Added to the newspaper another resident of the town, Anastasia, name changed. Sarov residents also criticized the authorities for poor street lighting in the city. there are not enough street light posts, in particular at the school in the area of the murder, where a suspicious maniac who attacked a woman has recently been noticed. There's not a single street light there. Now, in winter time, it gets light late. It gets dark early. There's practically no snow. How many children go to and from school in such darkness? No one cares about that. We're always waiting for something to happen first, one of the townspeople complained in the public comments. Others supported her. There are a lot of unlit places in the town, and there are also a lot of stray dogs, and now there are maniacs. The reaction of the administration seems to be there, but it doesn't seem to be there. The whole area is one big dark place there. Just a cussing word. People walk around with flashlights in the atomic town. In addition to the police and street lights, there are not enough doctors, teachers, and just workers in the city. Some Sarov residents blame this directly on the top managers of the nuclear center, who in their opinion cannot establish order in the surrounding town. At the end of November, one of the local groups published a warning about an aggressive maniac who was guarding the victims at an unlit school in the area of the murder of the pensioners. There has already been a case of an attack on a woman. A maniac grabbed her backpack from behind and knocked her to the ground with such force that only the contents of the backpack saved her from spinal injury. It was only thanks to the quick reaction and loud screams of the victim that the attacker was able to be scared away. The author of the public post wrote, "The city administration was asked to take action, but according to Sarov residents, there was no reaction. Apparently, the police don't owe anyone anything. The whole town has been talking about this for a week now, and there has simply been no reaction from the authorities." One of the commentators summed it up. The murder prompted local women to share other stories about how they were harassed on the streets by suspicious men, but they did not receive help. So one of them, named Irina, shared in the town group that a year ago she was chased for a very long time by a guy who lives on the same Lenin Avenue where pensioners were stabbed. The Russian woman independently identified the stalker and wrote a statement to the police, but they quickly closed that case, explaining that there is no article harassment in the criminal code, and the woman will be able to write a statement only when the stalker does something to her. Law enforcement officers only came to the man's address and tried to have a conversation with him, but he didn't open the door. The story ended with me throwing a grenade at him, which was in a backpack. He didn't follow me anymore, Irina summed up. From the comments of other residents, it turned out that this stalker was a well-known mentally ill man who allegedly committed one murder but remains at large. "I know him. He killed his mother. He's mentally ill in the 10th grade, had an accident and did not return the same after," warned one of the subscribers in the city public commentary internet page. It turned out that the same man was stalking at least one other woman who also told her story. This is a very suspicious character, very. Previously, we often walked along the health path with my mother. We saw every day, everyone followed us. Then I started working at the Atom facility. He came to our department every day, stood in front of me and stared stupidly for half an hour. He was very scary. They were ready to press the alarm buttons, but he didn't do anything illegal. To this day, when I see him, I want to run and scream. Let's see what else you say. "I thought he was just shying away from the old one, but then I saw him in a new area. and a chill went down my spine. And he walks all the time with a dog leash around his neck. We called resident Evgenia. So it's not only like Los Angeles or some other cities in the United States where this happens. According to the locals, the age of this man is about 40 years old. So he does not fit the description of the detainee that on suspicion of murdering pensioners. However, in any case, the presence of such stories in a small, closed town cannot be but disturbing. Tension among the townspeople reached the point that Sarov residents, after such news, more than once offered each other to organize an initiative, a team of men, and patrol the streets on their own. Can we go on a hunt? Guys, let's catch a live bait. It's high time, since neither the authorities nor the administration are moving to do anything. There's nothing to hope for someone. Our children are walking there. Local men encouraged each other in the comments. So this is the story that happened in a very secretive and closed-off Russian town. And as you can see, there's not much law and order there at this point. But is it only in that Russian town? Have you not seen it in other areas of the Western world? So that's what I wanted to bring to your attention today, because like I said, I have kept monitoring a situation with UFOs over this town and other locations in Russia, and I stumbled on this very sad story. Thank you for your attention to my work. If you can support my research, please do so through the links you'll find in description to this channel. Please like my videos and please tell others.